Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome, living beneficiaries, to the show for living beneficiaries, the House of Hidalgo show on the Estate Radio Network. Prepare for the most educational 60 minutes on all of radio with your host, Rick Hidalgo. The House of Hidalgo show can be followed on Twitter or Facebook by searching House of Hidalgo. Find the show on the web at www.therockofsalem.org. Sign up for the newsletter, and while you're there, take the 5-question survey to let us know what you think. The Estate Radio Network is part of the Blog Talk Radio family of networks and can be found at www.blogtalkradio.com/South Dakota DP. Join the show now by chat or call 619-639-4605. Don't forget to dial 1 to get in the queue. Here's your host, Rick Hidalgo! This is Rick Hidalgo. This, of course, is the House of Hidalgo show on the Estate Radio Network. We are broadcasting live from Salem, South Dakota. And today is a special broadcast where we're actually bringing somebody local onto this radio show. And we'll introduce him in just a moment. I just want to guide you guys. If you want to participate in this conversation we're about to have, you can go to blogtalkradio.com/South Dakota DP. That's like double play. And at the bottom of the page, you'll see a chat window that you can participate in. And you can ask your questions, and I'll certainly pass those questions on. Otherwise, our conversation today is part of the Back to the Land series, as so many Americans are getting fed up with city life and all the expenses and the fees and all this stuff going on and their freedoms being infringed. So many people are getting back to the land these days, and today we have another show in that line. Our guest today is Tom Newberger. He's from right here locally, somewhere around. Tom, are you from Salem here?
No, we have a Canastota address, but we're in the same county as Salem is.
Yes, sir. Okay. Well, we appreciate you being on the show today. I know you have a operation going called GooseMobile Farms, and I know that my mother has gone out there and bought some free-range chickens from you in the past, and it's good stuff. So I'm honored to have you on here today and to have you as part of our series on the Back to the Land movement. And I wonder, for us just to get started here, could you tell us a little bit of your story? How'd you get started in farming?
Well, back in my graduation from college, I taught school and coached sports for a number of years, and then in the 1970s, my parents decided that they wanted to retire from this family farm, and so we moved to the farm and started in it, and we started out as traditional farmers, and then about 1980 or something like that, when there was a recession, something like this went on here, probably still going on at this time, and at that time the farmers really took it in the shorts and we did too. We were traditional farmers, and we had a lot of debt and stuff, but so we paid that off, but then we didn't have anything to support us earn money from on the farm. And so the Department of Agriculture was trying to help farmers. They were having trouble at that time, and one of the things they were doing is going around and helping start farmers markets in the larger cities in South Dakota, and they wanted to start one in Sioux Falls. And so we were pioneers at that time, I might say, and we started raising garden products and things like that, and we were able to stay afloat by direct marketing, and we kind of liked that, and because we didn't need to have so much overhead, and we also didn't need so much volume to make a living, because you were getting profits from the middlemen that were taking it from the raw products that a lot of farmers produced at that time. And so that was kind of our start in direct marketing. And so we were doing garden vegetables for a few years, but then people started asking us for meats and stuff. And so we gradually drifted into the meat category, and we no longer do fruits and vegetables and that type of stuff. It's all meat. And so right now on our family farm here, well, we raise all the various meats. We have all the poultry and beef, pork, and lamb. And we like to say we raise it the old-fashioned way, and nothing's confined, and all of it's free-ranging, and it's fun to watch the chickens go out there and chase the bugs around and scratch in the dirt and do all the things chickens are supposed to do. And so I always say that our job here is to create a natural environment for these animals to do what they naturally do, instead of what is done a lot of nowadays, where they're confined, and if you change their lifestyle, and consequently you change the end product too a little bit. So that kind of tells you what we do. You mentioned our name. We now go by GooseMobile Pastured Meats. Where this GooseMobile thing came up was back quite a while ago. Our first meat that we started selling was goose, because there was quite a demand for geese at that time. That was back in 1985, something there like that. And there was a real demand for geese in those days. That was a tradition at that time. It's changed quite a bit now, the turkey. But anyway, one day I was out delivering the processed geese in a small town up by Huron. I can't remember the name of it. And two ladies came to buy their goose, and one lady said to the other, "Did you see that the bookmobile just drove into town?" And the other lady said to me, she said, "Well, you should call yourself the GooseMobile." And so I went back home and told the gang about it, and they painted that on the side of our delivery truck at that time. And we've been GooseMobile ever since, although that's a minor part of our product now. But marketing authority one time told us, he said, "Don't change your name, because that's a real intriguing name." So on the side of our delivery trailer, we've got South Dakota GooseMobile Pastured Meats, and so that's what we've gone by ever since. And then like I say, it's a lot more than just geese nowadays too. So that kind of gives you a rundown of our past history and what we do right now. And we don't sell anything in the commercial market. It's all directly marketed. We try to estimate each year how many animals and birds we can sell to our customers, and we don't do any advertising, except we make out a newsletter every 2 times a year that we send to our former customers that had. And so I think it's somewhere in the neighborhood of about 1,000 copies of the newsletter we send out at that time. And so that's kind of the story of our business.
Right. I know I ran across GooseMobile in the don't they publish some kind of a directory of direct marketing farms?
Yes.
I can't remember what it's called.
Companies do that tell about us. So we're thankful for that we get lots of times free promotion and information. We can't sell outside of South Dakota because our meats are only state inspected, so we can't sell outside of South Dakota. But we get quite a few calls because of the internet and being posted on many of these organizations. Our organization, we get calls
Sure.
for our meats, and we tell them that the only way you can get our meat, you have to come to South Dakota and buy it, and then you can take it. But we can't take it across the state lines.
Right. Right. So, you mentioned it's a family operation. How do you handle that on a day-to-day basis? Do you have a lot of family that are assisting you?
No, we don't. The only full-timers are my wife and I, although we do have a couple part-timers that come from time to time. Like this week, one guy was here for 3 days, and another one was here for 1 day. And then the way we get quite a bit of help on slaughtering the poultry is that we slaughter poultry for other people. Like one guy came with 80 chickens here last week, and then we had 100 and some to do, and so we tell him, yeah, we'll do your chickens, but you've got to help. And so he came with his son and helped us do those chickens during the day. And the man that worked 3 days for us, well, he helped too. So we had 4 people there that day. By working out a deal kind of like that. And the week before that, there was another man came and worked all day and helped us, and he had 30 chickens. And so that's the way we get a lot of our help, which we kind of make deals with people to help them out and do their particular thing that may be.
Sure, kind of an old-fashioned barter type of system.
That's right. Absolutely, that's right. And people are happy to do that, seems like, because they really don't have any other alternative other than do it themselves. And most of them aren't too excited about that. There's just nobody else nobody else around that does have poultry, certified poultry processing equipment. And so we're very fortunate that way, and that makes it so that they want to come to us and have their poultry done. And then I always say the only way you got to help all day long, and doing hours and years too. And I pay them and subtract it from what the charge for what we charge to do that for them.
Right. Well, that's excellent. I'm really glad to hear that, because I think we're losing a lot of these art forms anymore with all this university educated agriculturalism. It's just getting really lost.
Yes, we don't pay much attention to what goes on at the university and the farm magazines that you get and so forth, because our customers are sold on what we do, and so we just specialize in doing that the best way we possibly can. And although we're a little operation, but when you are getting the profit from what the middleman makes, the middlemen I should make in the handling of a cow or a pig or a chicken or whatever it may be, why it comes out that it's very profitable for you. Now, we have never gotten rich, but it's a very viable thing to do, this direct marketing, and especially been good the last few years as more and more publicity gets out about the differences in the taste and the end product by animals that are raised in different environments and fed different things. Like
yes.
The people that confine their chickens, why they probably about all they get is corn and soybeans, or ours get some corn and soybeans and oats and bugs and grubs, and you add that all together, they always say you are what you eat, and so consequently the flavor has to be different. I think our most popular product is pork.
Really?
Our pigs just run out in our shelter belt amongst the trees out there and stuff, and they're digging around all the time and eating grass and digging up worms and bugs, and I don't know what all they're doing, but like that. But boy, I tell you, the flavor is completely different than what you get in the grocery store, and our people know that and want that, and so that's great. And like I say, I think pork has the best flavor, different flavor than what is traditionally raised nowadays, and so people have a choice. They they like the grocery store flavor, why, they can have that. If they want the free-ranging flavor that we have, why, they got that choice too. And we're lucky too to be able to get a premium price for this, like a package of bacon in a grocery store, maybe $4 or $5. I don't know if that's for sure exactly what it is in the grocery store, but we're $1 higher. We're 5 to 6 area, and people tell us, we have more people tell us we don't charge enough than we charge too much.
Right. Well, I can tell you, you've probably seen me before because I used to work at the farmers market there in Salem. I was the meat cutter.
Okay. Yep, I have.
Mm-hmm. For quite some time I was there, and and now I do this. But I can attest to the fact that bacon is, when you're getting the premium bacon, off the shelf at a grocery store, you're talking about $5 or $6. So I can agree with that. I wonder, maybe you can give us a little, some tips of how it is how do you differentiate yourself in the way that you treat your animals from what most of these agricultural businesses are doing?
Well, I can't really tell you how they're doing it because I don't know much about it. I drive by, I see a confinement hog operation or a confinement cattle feedlot or something like that. So I really don't know what they're doing, but I know that's not a natural environment for those animals.
Right.
So like I said earlier today in our discussion, we try to create a natural environment and let them do what they do naturally. Let them dig and let them scratch and let them chase those bugs and so forth. And so that's all I can tell you. I can't. I mean, we don't abuse our animals. We just stand and enjoy them doing their thing out there. They eat that grass or they chase those bugs or whatever they do, and just to allow them to be able to do that. And probably the only bad thing about doing the way we do is, particularly with poultry, is predators. Predators, the coons and weasels and mink and things like that. They just love our place. But we don't really have too much problem because we've learned to combat it, and so that's a real problem. And so some people wouldn't like to put up with that, so they go into confinement type thing and lock all those predators out, and so you don't have any problem like that. But we've learned with traps and dogs and so forth to be able to handle that problem. But it is a problem if people would want to try raising a free-ranging animal or poultry, I should say, that way. So there's problems doing it the way we do it. It's not all not all as great as you'd like it to be.
So I wonder, do you find yourself more and more busy all the time as far as what you have to do in a typical day, or is it are you making it easier on yourself by letting these animals do the natural course?
Yeah. Oh, I wouldn't say so. It's a lot of work. Like last night, some of our just about dark, where some of our cattle got out, and if they'd have been in a big old feedlot with a big old barrier fence around it, they never would have gotten out, But they must have been what was happening. They were probably rubbing up against this particular gate, and the gate broke and fell down, and out they came and stuff. So if they weren't out in the pasture, that would never happen. But I wouldn't say. I'm sure we were the people with their confinement deal or ourselves. We both worked real hard at doing our particular thing. This is neat. If you don't like to work, you wouldn't want to do this. Because it's just a lot of work. It would be much easier, perhaps, just to confine them in some way, so that you didn't need to do a lot of things that might happen if they aren't confined. So I don't think it saves any labor. But it's enjoyable labor, because you know that you're providing something those animals are enjoying, because it's the thing they like to do. They like to dig. They like to chase bugs and do their thing, and you create an environment which is they enjoy. Why? Then you can just tell that they are satisfied animals. Like I took two with the red meats. Well, we don't slaughter them ourselves. We take them to professional butchers. And last week I took 2 cows down to that, and we couldn't get them off of them. I had a heck of a time getting them off the trailer. And the butcher said to me, "They must be tame cows." He says, "When we get wild ones," he says, "they shoot out of here like crazy," he said. "But when we get tame ones, well, they have a hard time getting them off the trailer." I said, "Yeah, they're tame, because every day they're with me. I open the gates for them, or I do this or that, and so they're just so tame." And then those that got out last night that I talked about, I didn't need to chase them. I mean, run after them. They just walked up slowly to them, and then they just turned and went, and we leisurely walked through another gate to put them in a pasture where they'd be safe and wouldn't be able to get out while I fixed the fence where it had broken down there before.
Right.
So
right.
It's a fun thing to do with them. If you enjoy animals and you know their dispositions and what they do naturally, and then you try to create that situation for them. And I know last spring, I usually don't raise pigs from babies on. I usually buy them we call them feeder pigs when they're about they aren't 100 pounds yet. And boy, this guy, I bought them from a friend, a neighbor, and he brought them over here, and were they ever wild? Holy mackerel. They were the wildest pigs, and today they're just about ready to be butchered now. They've been around here for 3 or 4 months. They're getting pretty good size, and they just stand around now, and when they see me coming, why, they come, and they know they're going to get fed or something's going to happen, and they aren't wild anymore. Just by being with them and giving them what they want, and giving them an environment in which they love to live.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I know. It sounds like you built this based on some deep down set values that you have in inside yourself. It sounds like you built it based on how God created it to be. Oh
yeah, that's the spiritual part of it is real important to this operation out here, whereby we feel that we have a spiritual responsibility to treat these animals as fine as we can, and we feel that to treat them well and in an outstanding manner is provide them an environment that's natural for them, so that they can do their thing, whatever it may be, and they're different. Cattle are different from sheep, and sheep are different from pigs, and pigs, all the poultry are different. Like geese, for instance, consume a lot of grass, whereby chickens don't. They pick at it, and they may eat a little bit, but they don't. But the geese do. They just eat ooze of it. When we mow the lawn, sometimes we save the clippings and dump it in with the with to the goose pen, and man, they just come running, and they're eating that stuff you can't believe how they're gobbling it down. And so you got to know those things about these different birds and different animals, and provide them with that opportunity to do that, because that's the characteristic of that species, and that's so important, I think, and I think that the Lord wants us to treat these animals that way. And if you don't know that, well, you can't treat them that way.
Right. That's absolutely exactly right. I wonder, have you had any opportunities to, train other people to do what you're doing so that this doesn't get lost?
We have several friends that we work quite closely with and stuff that are kind of doing the same thing that we are. And there's one family in particular. They raise a couple thousand chickens every year, and they don't have any facilities for slaughtering them. And like I said earlier, there's no other place around to get them slaughtered, and so we work with them too. And they bring their stuff over, and they got teenage young people, and they come over too to help. And so on sometimes we'll have 3 or 4 of them here helping too, and then of course we get to communicate and talk back and forth when we're working, and we got an opportunity to train them, so to speak, and then I suppose during the course of the year there'll be a dozen for sure young people come that have raised a few chickens or something that'll come here, and then they can see our operation. I know one young family that came last year, and now this year they were able to acquire some equipment to slaughter their own chickens. So I haven't been over to look at it yet, but they now have the equipment and stuff to do their own chickens, and so they kind of got their start here.
Right, excellent. That sounds wonderful. I tell you what, Tom, I'm going to take a quick little break. If you need to get a glass of water or something, you go ahead, and we'll be back in about 2 minutes.
All right.
Alrighty. Do you need an experienced editor to look over your short story, script, or novel? Do you need help building a platform or self-publishing your book? Are you on the cusp of realizing your dream, but you need someone to help you with those few extra steps? Are you a business in need of an established copy editor or copywriter? Dan O'Brien has more than a decade of experience in writing and publishing, and his rates are flexible. All that matters to Dan is the integrity of your artistic vision, and Dan can help you create the highest quality work possible. Please email Dan today at amalgamconsulting@gmail.com or visit his website, www.amalgamconsulting.com. That's AMALGAM consulting.com. Write Dan today. Start your dreams tomorrow. Do you have hopes, dreams, and goals, but don't know how to reach them? Do you wonder how you could do differently to achieve greater success at home or at work? Do you feel like something is holding you back from enjoying your life to the fullest? Are you fed up with status quo and ready for real and lasting life change? Are you wanting to start a business or expand an existing one? If the answer to any of these questions is yes, then you are ready for life coaching with Mr. Attitude. Mr. Attitude will stretch and grow you and take your life to a whole new level of success by equipping you with the tools to help you to accomplish more in less time, get and keep your priorities in line, gain greater happiness and joy, face your fears, plan for success, be more assertive and confident, overcome negative stress, deal with negative thinking, set goals you will achieve, and more. Mr. Attitude specializes in results producing. life strategy coaching for the personal side of your life, small business coaching for those who want to start a small business or build a stronger small business, train the trainer coaching for those who aspire to become a motivational professional speaker. Call today and reserve your appointment with greater success. 605-450-1955. That's 605-450-1955. Or email Bob at MrAttitudespeaks.com. That's MrAttitudespeaks.com. Mr. Attitude is committed to your success. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. This is Rick Hidalgo. I am, of course, the host of this show, the House of Hidalgo Show on the Estate Radio Network. And we are on today with Tom Newberger, who's with GooseMobile Pasture Meats. And he's a local business here in this area. He said it's over in the Canastota area. So if you're listening from South Dakota, I definitely encourage you to give him a buzz out there and get on the GooseMobile train and get yourself some good quality free range meats. Tom, the first half of the program here, we talked a lot about your operation and what kind of things that you were doing and all that you're about. On the second half of the program here, I'd like to get your advice for people that might be listening to this program and might want to get started in farming, or whether it be farming meats or farming vegetables or anything else. How do you get started in something like this?
Well, one thing about doing this direct marketing type thing, whether it be vegetables or meat, or I know of people that are doing honey and various things like that, but there's not near the overhead. It's easier to get started than with traditional farming, where I'm sure our total investment in our operation isn't as much as a good-sized tractor would cost nowadays to buy to do traditional crop farming and stuff like that. So that's the thing they got to think about is what could they do? Because if you got to go into a whole bunch of debt to buy the equipment, the combines and the tractors and the planters and the sprayers and all this and that, well, you got a terrible burden to overcome, and you've got to have top product, and you got to have good prices to pay off the debt or to pay for those things like this. I like the biggest investment we got is our poultry processing facility that we use, and it cost us $40,000. Now that was way back in 1980 something like when we went and bought that facility. I would guess if we had an auction here and sold everything that we utilized around here to raise the cattle and the sheep and the pigs and the poultry, probably, oh gosh, we're not talking about the land, of course, or anything like that, but I'm talking about the equipment you would need to do that. We probably wouldn't come up with $150,000, something like that, in an auction or something like that. So that's all it takes to do what we're doing, and that's the kind of the cheap way to get into farming of some particular sort. And there's so many different avenues and products that can be produced on a small scale that you don't need to depend on big conglomerates to assist you. What I'm talking about like that is mostly in the marketing like that. They want you've got to have a market for this wheat or corn or beans that you raise in a big quantity. So you got to go to these big companies that are not going to give you probably as much profit from your product as you'd like to have. And this direct marketing thing isn't easy either. You have to develop a relationship with these people and build up that relationship. But they're special people that are going to deal with anybody on a direct basis because they all go to the grocery store anyway. You know, and they could just pick up their chicken or their pork chops or whatever they buy from you in there, and it'd be even cheaper than they. But for some reason or other, why they see fit to come to you and buy your product that is higher price than it is in the grocery store, and so you make it do. Now we go to the farmers market in Sioux Falls every Saturday morning, and there are a lot of direct marketers there selling all kinds of different things at that thing. But there are probably 1,000 people come down there on a real nice day when the weather's nice. That the farmers market kind of depends on the weather. So a real nice day when people come, I'm sure there'd be 1,000 people there. So look at your product, whatever it may be. So it's not easy. It's direct marketing isn't for sure. It's much easier just to take the pigs to a market and in your trailer and back up to the gate and open it up and let the pigs run out and get your check. That makes the same amount of profit. You probably have to have many trailer loads of pigs as you would if you were direct marketing some of those pigs. And so but it's a way to get started with a low overhead without a lot of great investment. But most of these things are a lot of work. Like I always admire the people. We got quite a few people at the farmers market that raise just beautiful vegetables and stuff like that. And I know the kind of work they go through to produce those things, and then they come and to market with it and sell it. So it's a lot of work. There aren't many things that you can do on a small scale, such as we do, or the produce people might be doing. That doesn't take a lot of work. Or it may be.
Absolutely. Now, how many acres would you presume you would need to do something like you're doing?
Oh, I'd say about 25 acres, perhaps. We have 160 acres, but we don't use it all for our business. It's all grass, and so I've got some people that have brought some cattle here to utilize it. But for what we produce and can sell through our business, we don't need all of those acres. So I'd say to do what we do as far as the number of cattle we market and the number of sheep we market, and it doesn't take much land really for the poultry, and a couple acres for the pigs and stuff. I'd say 25, 30 acres would be all we would really need for doing what we do at this particular time. So you don't read and do it and have big numbers if you are direct marketing, because you're getting the profit from three different sources. You're getting a profit from the marketer that the marketer makes. You're getting from the processor, and then you're getting a little bit of profit from the production part of it too, like that. You're getting it all, so you don't need hundreds of animals and birds. To give you an example, I can tell you just how much we raise here, and you'll hardly believe it, that you make a living doing that. In the poultry line, we'll probably raise, that's our big item, our chickens. There seems to be the most demand for that. We'll probably raise 2,500 of them. We'll raise about 200 turkeys and 150 ducks and probably 50 or 100 geese. And then you go to the beef part, where probably 10 beef, and pigs will be probably 20, and sheep will probably be about 20, 25, something like that. That's all. That's all we raise around here. But now your effort isn't only just raising those animals. I mean, you got to get those animals processed, and you got to get those animals marketed too. So you're working in three different areas, and getting some of the profit that the people that on the commercial scale work in those particular areas that they make. And so you got to kind of be a jack of all trades, they say, to do this. You got to know something about raising them. You got to know something about processing them, and you got to know something about marketing.
Yes. You know, what I always find fascinating, Tom, is that people like you, which I'm totally honored to even have had this discussion with you, because this is great stuff. This is good. But people like you always tend to be kind of self-educated. You seem to be kind of always learning, while the rest of the world kind of does the cookie cutter thing. You know, they do the replicated thing, and they go to university and they learn what they're taught there, and they go and they do this business, and they get in debt, up to their eyeballs and beyond. I'm assuming that you're very well self-educated. Am I correct?
I guess I remember back in the 80s when we purchased this poultry processing equipment. I had to go to 5 different states to get the equipment that I could afford, and then I would buy the equipment, and then we brought it back and put it together, and then I thought, well, now how do you do this, and I employed 12 people that were on our first attempts to make it work, and so we really struggled with 12 people. But within a month's time, I was down to 3 people. That was all we needed to do that, but I didn't know that. I thought we needed 12 of them, and so all kinds of things like that have happened through the years, and it's really funny. And now, I suppose about half a dozen years ago, then we started doing a lot of further processing, like cutting up chickens. And people were asking for breasts. They didn't want the whole chicken. They just wanted the breasts, or they just wanted the legs, or whatever like that. And so we started doing some further processing on that type of thing. And then we started making different things. Like one of our more real popular products is what we call chicken patties. That's ground chicken, and then my wife has recipes, and I can't tell you exactly what they are, but anyway, she puts a lot of garden products in there. And she'll put some peppers in, or onions and parsley, and you'll have to ask her about what it is. But people really love that stuff, and so we started doing some of that because there was demand for it. When we first started, there wasn't anybody ever asked us for just the breast, back in the 80s. Just a chicken. They wanted a chicken, but now it's changed. So I'd say about half of them now have to be cut up. And when you cut them up and sell them by the part, you just buy double the value of that chicken. Sure. Because the price of breast is such and such, and the price of legs is such and such, and so the little effort it takes to cut up that chicken. You can cut up a chicken in 2-3 minutes, and so if a chicken is worth, say, most $8, is kind of the normal size or most popular size of chicken that we sell, whole chicken. Well, then you cut it up, and now you got a $15 chicken. So that really helps with the profit too that you have when you do these things. So things change and things along the way, and you just have to meet the needs of your customers.
Absolutely. You have anybody ask you for like chicken strips and that kind of stuff? Oh yeah, occasionally. But
but you got to have a lot of requests before you can afford to get the equipment to do these things, you know.
Sure.
So we haven't moved into that, but we have had requests for it. I can remember that for so.
Well, you know, they
And
say...
the same with the other stuff, too. You know, you get all kinds of requests for various cuts from various animals, and whether it's a lamb or pork and stuff like that. But you just have to stick to the basics until you figure out that there is a big enough demand to make it profitable to do that for them. And so our main idea is basically why you stick with the routine cuts and various products and till there's just an overwhelming demand for it, and then you move.
Right. Yeah, I know. Going back to my days of cutting meat, you know, this area, they love their ribeye. So I'm guessing you get a lot of requests for ribeye.
Yeah, we do. We do get some requests. I suppose by far the most popular thing in beef is your ground meat. Your hamburger, your ground chuck, your ground round, and ground sirloin.
Sure.
That's, I suppose we sell 10 times more of that than we do the other cuts and stuff. And,
wow.
But there's a great. It depends on the time of year too. You know, you get into the winter time, then you roasts go like mad. But the summertime, why the steaks go like, and hamburgers go mad because they're doing all that grilling, you know, and that's what they use for that. And so it really varies with the time of the year where it happens like that. So.
Right. You know, I was also wondering. When you, let's see, what was I going to ask? I was going to ask you a question about the different animals that you have there. Are you know, there's this big awareness going on right now about these genetic modified organisms, the GMOs. Do you, is that something that you concern yourself with, or do you just feed whatever you got to your animals?
Yeah, we're concerned about it because our customers are concerned about it. Of course, our beef and lamb is all grass-fed. They never see a kernel of grain in their whole life. They just eat grass in the summer and hay in the wintertime, and raised right here on our farm. And so we don't spray or anything like that. And so there's no real problem with GMOs or pesticides or that type of thing.
Sure.
And then with the poultry, what we try to do is feed a lot of oats to them. There's no such thing as GMO oats. But there's more protein in oats than there is in corn, and so and they don't get as fat on oats as they do on corn. And so with the poultry, why, I'd say 75% of their diet is oats, and then the rest of it the rest of the diet that we feed them is a concentrate. We feed them poultry concentrate, and it does have soybeans and corn in it that I'm sure is GMO because we just get it off the local market and stuff like that. But we try to keep it to a minimum, because we know people are concerned about this, and we're concerned about it too. I don't really know the answer. It might not be a problem, but there's a big argument going on that there is a problem there. But I'm not smart enough to know whether this is a problem. But it's a problem to our customers, and so we have to try to address it. So we address it, like I was telling you, we with the the beef and the lamb, nothing but grass, so no GMO. And the other animals, lots of oats with no GMO on them. And then the fact that oats doesn't have much carbohydrate in it, they don't get so gobby fat as they do on corn. And the other day, a friend of ours brought some chickens over, and he hadn't fed them oats. Boy, and they were the fattest things you could ever believe. I said, to myself, I said, man, I would never eat this chicken as fat as it is. And they just don't get that way on oats. And our customers, most of them, they appreciate that they aren't fat, that they are pretty lean, and aren't eating a GMO product in the main.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I know I appreciate that greatly. Having interviewed some people that are in that GMO argument, and that have done a lot of research on those GMOs, it does sound like very dangerous stuff. So I appreciate it. I extend my hand out to you, and I thank you for what you're doing. I just hope that what you're doing doesn't get lost. I hope more and more people pick it up.
Well, there's an organization called the Pasture Poultry Association, and I'm trying to think of some others. So there's some pretty big organizations out there that are promoting the type of thing that we do, and so I don't think it gets lost. It just seems to me like it grows. It's growing. I get several publications from some of these organizations, and Northern Plains Sustainable Agriculture Society covers North and South Dakota. I mean, that's their main thing is organic and free range and this type of stuff. So there's innumerable organizations out there that are promoting this, and I don't think there's any chance it'll get lost. And it seems to grow too, quite significantly. I know that with some friends of mine that are certified organic, and when we get an opportunity to visit, they've been with the organic certification organization for a number of years, and they tell just how it's grown quite a bit and stuff. And you can get a premium price for this stuff. Like I said, just with us, we aren't certified organic, just free ranging, raised the old-fashioned way. We get $1 more for our bacon than they get to pay. And the same with your organic things they raise, whether it's animals or crops or what. Why they get big money for a bushel of corn that's certified organic, or a bushel of soybeans that's certified organic. And it's growing. There's no doubt about that. So I don't think we need to worry about it getting lost. The only way that it could get lost is if somebody could come down with some substantial proof that GMO and pesticides are good for you.
Yeah. I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon, so we're safe.
Yeah, okay.
I was I should have wrote that down while I was thinking of it. They say that you can eat just about everything off the pig except for the squeal. I've heard that for years. How do you is that part of your profit strategy as well, is to use all the different parts? Do you have a way to process all the different parts? Like, do you make brats and that kind of stuff?
Oh yeah, we make brats and breakfast sausage, and that's about it that we make. But I'll tell you what we do is with poultry to use all of it. We have created a pretty good market for dog food. And what we use for the dog food is mostly the poultry products, the parts of the chicken that you don't sell all of it, like anything, like feet, for instance. There is a market for feet. We do every Saturday that we go to the farmer's market. We'll sell 5 pounds of chicken feet that people use for soup stock or something like that. But you got a lot more than 5 pounds of feet when you raise 2,000-3,000 chickens. And so we grind that up and sell it as dog food. And so, we, with our dog food, we'll have feet in there, we'll have tails in there, we'll have necks in there, we'll have liver and heart and gizzard and the carcass. And then sometimes when we debone the chicken, take the wing and the legs off and the breast off, we just come up with a bunch of bones and some meat on it because you can't get.
Oh, looks like we lost our guest there. Let me see if I can't get him back real quick. I'm going to try to dial him right back here. Try to get him back real quick here.
Not accept calls from telemarketers. If you are a telemarketer, please use this number to your do not call list and hang up now. If you
I am a
not
telemarketer, actually.
Stay on the line or press 1.
Marketing radio show here, lady. But I'm not going to press anything. He'll pick up in just a minute. We'll give him a chance to wrap up on the show. Okay. Are you there? You're not there. All right. Well, anyway, folks, that's Tom from GooseMobile Pasture Meats. You can find him on the internet. Just type that in your Google search engine, GooseMobile Pasture Meats. And let's see here. You can also call him at, let's see, I'm not sure I should give that out in the air, but Goose Mobile Pasture Meats. Type that in your search engine. You can find him there. You can ask him any questions that you'd like to ask him. Also, they have an email address. I'm pulling it up right now. It is goosedown. That's GOOSEDOWN at Unitel SD. That's UNITEL Unitel SD.com. So it's goosedown at UnitelSD.com. And goosedown is one word. Okay? So you can email him there, and you can certainly, he'll answer any questions that you have for him. Otherwise, I appreciate everybody coming on the show today. It was a blast of a show. I like doing these kinds of shows where we're getting back to the land. It's been fun. I wish I could have said bye to Tom, but I'll give him a call back here after the show's over. So for Tom Newberger, this is Rick Hidalgo. This has been another episode of the House of Hidalgo show on the Estate Radio Network. We thank you for coming. Thanks for stopping by, participating in a phone conversation. God bless you all, and stay safe. Good night, all.